recently checked out WIDRFM.org, 89.1 Wider FM introduces the brand new original series. Find our podcast under the series tab on WIDRFM.org. See you there.
Welcome once again, lovely people, to this new episode of the Western News Review. My name is Daniel Ebo, and as usual, I'm with Corey Osterman and Nicole Morehouse from the Western Herald. Today we are discussing quite a number of interesting issues, but before we get into any of that, let me just take some time and see how they are doing. How's it been?
Pretty good. Wrapping up the semester, end of semester chaos. A lot of stress.
Were you at the what you call it, Bernhard? Were you there?
I was not there.
I saw people writing their names.
Meetings all day yesterday, so I couldn't go. But I was in the Bernhard Center this morning.
Oh, how does it look? I haven't been. How's it like now?
Well, it's currently full of admitted students, so like a bunch of high school seniors who are touring and getting a sense of what the university looks like. I think it's one of the last ones of the year, but there's a lot of campus tours going on. I'm sure people have seen everyone walking around, and
I've seen quite a number of them from yesterday.
Yeah, especially now that it's nice out. We've got the good. And they turn the fountains back on.
Yep, and my office just overlooks it, so I always have this nice view from there. It's great. This is off topic, but what's by Bernhard? Does it mean, is it like the official ceremony, quote unquote, for closing it down, or what?
Yeah, they had people were able to sign the walls and stuff and basically kind of go in one last time. It's going to be open for another week or two, but with the new student center opening, we are saying goodbye to the Bernhard Center, which is the current student center, and they will be tearing it down. We're not sure exactly what the timeline is for that, but it's happening.
Wow, that's sad. I'm used to that, and but I like the new student center.
Yeah, it'll be missed, but we have a new very nice space
much cooler
coming.
One. Yeah. So, how's it, Nicole?
Pretty good. Like Corey said, wrapping up the semester, enjoying the nice weather. It's been
yesterday I wore t-shirt to class, which is so unlike me because I'm always officially or semi-officially dressed, but yesterday I decided to wear a t-shirt to go teach, and it felt liberating.
It's dress season and I'm pumped for it.
Great. Okay, so interesting stuff. This happens to be our last but one episode for the semester. We have one more.
Yes, this one and one more.
Exciting stuff. All right, today we're looking at internships, and we're also looking at the WSA administration and their vision for the year that they are going to be in power. We also have some stuff about climate change and its impact, especially within the next decade. You might want to stay tuned for that one as well. And as we've been discussing spring and the nice weather and all of that, some international students have been welcoming spring with certain activities. We'll look into all of that and get you updated. But this, once again, is the Western News Review, where we bring you stories that have made headlines with the Western Herald newspaper and the online portal as well. Show is ably produced by Ryan Misiak. Let's get first of all into internship stuff. And we understand the BMU has launched a new internship program for students. Nicole is going to give us that story and tell us what the program entails.
Yeah, this is a story that I wrote earlier this week. It's basically 56 different job opportunities for students. In the first year, there will be up to 100 positions that can be filled. And it's just a bunch of different internships with job opportunities getting involved with different businesses, nonprofit organizations in the community. And
So 56 job opportunities, that's cool. But how significant, or what's the relevance really of this to students? And probably not just specifically to just what WMU is doing, but internships in general. How do you see this impacting students?
Yeah, well, like I said, there's 56 different job opportunities. So there's different internships for all kinds of majors for students to get experience before they enter the work field. And then, like, I was talking to Andrea Page, and she was telling me how it's more than just an internship, but it's a program. So before the internships begin, they'll have 2 workshops to help set them up for the internship. And then throughout their internship, they'll have 6 paid workshops where they can just like develop themselves as like a student, as a person, as an employee.
So it's very good. So it's more about gaining experience as well as training as well. That's pretty interesting, and that's really some of the things that people take for granted when it comes to internships, especially for people in universities. You don't want to take an internship for granted at all, because in the world out there, usually companies will post job advertisements and they are requiring experiences, and meanwhile you are just fresh out of college. So what experience do you have? These are some of the opportunities, I want to believe, Corey, that students can take in terms of building their resumes, for instance, to enter the job market.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially in fields like the ones we're in, more of the arts, that don't necessarily set you up to have a job right after you graduate.
Very cool point.
Internships are very, very important.
I've had myself do a lot of these during my undergraduate studies, and even now in the summer I intend to take an internship as well. I know some of you are also taking internships.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And what you do here is a form of internship. I'm talking about the Western Herald. At least it's a form of training to give you experience, so that when you complete school, you're not just you're not going with a clean slate necessarily, but you have something up your sleeves. You have some experience to work with.
Yeah, and like if you're a journalism major and you don't work for the Western Herald, I'm not really sure what you're doing. You must not want to really be a reporter.
Yeah, because it's really a practical field.
Yeah.
So it's not just sitting in a classroom and consuming content about this is how to write the news, this is how to angle stories and all of that. It's really different when you're on the field and you have to actually do it. That's when you see the heat building up. So like she said, if you're a journalism student and you're not taking opportunity of the chance to do some of these things, especially volunteering with campus media organizations, then,
or if you're like audio, video, the wider Western Herald, if you're any kind of major and you're not like applying that to something else other than sitting in the classroom,
you struggle.
You should think about doing that.
And let me just share that in Ghana, for instance, or in my university. So my university's media FM station where I used to work for, so we had this radio station where we also publish online news as well. So we're not just doing music but actual journalism there. Most of the mainstream media agencies will come at the end of each year when people are graduating to come select people from there, as opposed to people who just graduated from journalism school. So most of the people I know didn't study journalism necessarily, but because they volunteered with the news media organization and had hands-on and practical experience with the job, they were chosen over those who actually had degrees in them but had no experience in it. So it's really very important. But Nicole, there's one aspect about the story that I want you to bring me up to speed with in terms of how it's going to be funded. I understand this requires some level of funding. How are they funding it?
So it's completely paid through Western. It comes from the Empowering Futures Fund. That it was a large donation given to Western, and it's one of 9 initiatives that is going to help students. There's different ways like scholarships, housing, that the Empowering Futures Fund
also
helps
there's
students.
A fund set up?
Yeah, so this is just like one aspect of that fund that is going to help develop students as they move past college.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think the Empowering Futures gift was like one of the largest donations the university has ever received, and they're putting it towards almost every aspect of going to school here. So it's really important to us.
At least they are directing the funds to developing students and all of that. So that's a very good one. So if you're doing the listening out there, you want to take the chance and apply, is this an application process, right?
Yeah, it's an application. It does pay $15 an hour, which is pretty good for an on-campus job.
Yeah.
It's up to 20 hours a week.
You can make some
12-week
money.
program.
I know it starts in May and ends somewhere in July.
Yep, May 1st to July 21st.
Yeah, so that's like 2
Coming
months
up.
of $15 per hour.
12
You
weeks,
can make
yeah.
some money. Yeah. So take advantage of this opportunity and apply. It's not just about the money, really, like we've discussed. It's also about the hands-on experience that you'll be getting. In fact, I would say it's even much more important than how much you'll be paid if you are getting these experiences that you can apply in real life. That's why some people volunteer with Western Herald or Wider, for instance, where they're not really getting paid, but they are gaining experience. So take advantage of that.
Some of us are getting paid if you play your cards right. So.
Of course. I mean, there are gigs and all of that. So
yeah.
I understand. Okay, so it's not really rewardless. I think that's the point
it's
she
just
wants to make.
something to think about if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, it's not really rewardless. Yeah, you get gigs from time to time. So
yeah.
That's the plus side. Okay, so let's do some more stories. Talk about the administration currently and their vision as far as the next academic year is concerned. And this story I'll give you from Ian Russell, written just on April 11th. And it says that the president-elect, Kayla Bird, laid out her vision for the organization in a brief speech that she gave at the Legislative Assembly. And she, among other things, I think what stands at the core of her vision is her campaign initiative, which was the ACE, which basically stands for Advocate, Communicate, and Engage. And so essentially, what they want to do is talk to students, hear their concerns, and bring those up and make sure that we have conversations about them. So that's what the Bird administration is currently thinking about. We understand also that the chair of the political science department, in the person of Dr. John Clark, was at this gathering, and he also had something to say about that. But essentially, they were talking about how to address lack of conversations between the university administration and that of the students, leaders, that so that you don't have the university administration doing something different and perhaps the student administration as well doing something different without that communication between them. I mean, it doesn't really foster a good community since you're all working towards the interest of students. So I think he basically advised that they build that connection, right? And I would agree. It's something good to do.
Hearing the students' voices. Really quick, just to circle back to Kayla Bird. I actually met her this morning, and I just want to say that I'm excited to see what she does for WSA, and Western Herald will continue to cover all of those meetings next year. And we're just excited to see what they do over there, because their administration seems to have like a solid basis for what's going to happen next year. I just wanted to read one of the quotes that Bird said that Ian put in this article. I encourage you all to think about what you and your friends would like to see from this school or this student government.
Great.
So she wants to implement talking to the student body more, hearing our voices, and executing some of those concerns
and that's
or things
exactly
that people
what we've
bring
been
up.
discussing for some time now in terms of engagement, for instance.
Yes.
Prior to the elections, we were discussing the need to engage, with the students, find out really what it is that they want, what is, for instance, stopping them from even being interested in WSA activities. So that's a move in the right direction. Hopefully, they're able to implement that. But as it stands now, I think it's a good move that they should spend all the efforts trying to engage. That's what governance is about. It's a democracy where you listen to the voices of the people, their concerns, and then you take actions to address them. So good one with WSA. Let's stop politics for some time and then do some things that should impact the world in the next decade. Climate change.
Yep.
Corey, give me that story quickly.
This story was written by Kayla Lambert, one of our staff reporters. Basically, a 2023 synthesis report by the United Nations panel talked about the next decade being crucial in stemming the impacts of climate change. So it talks all about climate change and the problems we're facing right now.
And in the next decade, how serious is this expected to be in the next decade?
Very serious. If no changes are made within the next decade, the concerns brought up were environmental safety, impact on infrastructure, water and food scarcity, and danger to ecosystem structures. So all of that is impacted.
10 years from now.
Yeah.
And already some places are feeling the impacts of climate change, and it promises to get worse in the next 10 decades. But the story also talks about those that contributes the most, those that contributes the less, and efforts that even those that contribute the most have made in terms of addressing. You want to give me that part of the story?
Yeah. So the U.S. produces greenhouse gas emissions totaling 5,981 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, and 15% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. But the United States is affected by climate change the least, because those countries that are a little less developed usually feel the impact of global warming first. They feel the impact of that food scarcity, water scarcity, and ecosystem breakdowns, but the United States is the one contributing most to these problems.
And it's not just the United States, actually. It's basically the global north. And last week, we had this conversation in a class. We were discussing environmental racism. It's a course in social movements. And it was about climate change, who is contributing the most and who is suffering the least, and all of that. And this came up, so I was interested. So I found the story interesting to read, knowing that these are things I could relate with. These are things I've discussed in class and all of that. So yes, you have countries like the United States, and not just them, but mostly bigger countries, some Asian countries as well, contributing the most. And it's mainly because of industrialization being more, this place being more advanced in terms of industrialization. The more industries you have, the more emissions that you have. But the U.S. hasn't done absolutely nothing to resolve it. I'm sure so a part of the story talks about some efforts that has been taken in terms of addressing their contribution to climate change.
Let's see. U.S.'s involvement is a requirement to fix the damage done to climate change. According to both Clement and the United Nations, it's important to get legislators involved. So we're trying to basically just have that involvement start.
I think there's a part where it says that the U.S. also has made little efforts in preventing climate change. So we've done oil drilling initiatives, and certain projects that have been passed by the federal government, as well as generally the U.S. has tried to limit its contributing to greenhouse emissions and all of that, but what essentially the story is saying is that we've not done enough, right? Yeah. There's still more to be done. And
on a personal level, Western has a climate action plan to be carbon neutral by 2065.
Awesome.
So that's a goal, but 2065 is a ways away. That is not within the next decade.
It's a long way from here. Yeah. But Nicole, maybe a few insights about what individuals can do to, make sure that we're not compounding the issue, right? What can we do as individuals? I know for one that I want to, for instance, limit the amount of plastic that I use.
Yes. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of little decisions that we can make every day to kind of contribute toward that. I'm also thinking back to a speech that I went to by Rashida Tlaib talking about, environmental justice. And one thing she was saying is really sharing stories, pushing to legislators to make change, because when they start hearing firsthand accounts that really clicks in their mind, and that's what causes a change in how they think about things and makes them more likely to make change. So,
and that's been effective to some extent in the past. The Paris Accord. It's all about concerns about climate change. So policy decision makers decided that let's go to Paris. Let's come together and let's make this pact that this is what we're going to do about it. So like you're saying,
contacting legislators and your government is important. One that I personally try to do is I don't buy any new clothing. All of my clothing is secondhand. It takes a lot of water to make new clothes. And secondhand clothing is just as good. One man's treasure, man's treasure. I buy everything used, and I think that's my small little way of. It's
not really small. Imagine if a lot of people are doing that as well.
And fast fashion is a huge problem, especially with the climate. So if we stop buying fast fashion, that's just something I feel personally strongly about.
I think that's a good point also that you raised. So it's nothing is too small. Really, what we are saying is that no effort is too small. Whether it's you trying to get your city council representatives aware about the issue, whether it's you deciding to make certain adjustments about your own purchases and all of that, it contributes to eradicating that, so that in the next decade we are not consumed by whatever the melting of Antarctica or anything. So
absolutely.
All right. Okay, let's go, and I want to come back to
happy story.
Yeah, I mean, it was good that we spoke about it, but something more happy. Like you said, some students in welcoming spring have been engaged in some activities. So we have the Indian Students Association as well as the Persian Students Association doing something. I was glad when I saw the pictures of the Indian students lying on the grass and with paints on their faces. I'll give you that story while Nicole, you look for the story about the Persian students, if you can.
I have that one pulled up right now.
Great. So let me quickly give the one about the Indian students, and it's written by Michael Simons, and it says, what WMU's Indian Students Association welcomes spring with colorful Holi. It's festival. Holi. I hope I got that name right.
Yeah, you're good. Holly.
Okay, Holly. Yeah, and essentially it was a joyful event with participants throwing vibrantly colored powders at one another while dancing to... Why wasn't I there?
It looks fun, right?
Yeah, it looks fun. While dancing to Indian and American pop music, Wow.
Visit the Western Herald to see the picture.
yeah, you should look at the story. They are there with paints on their faces, on their clothes. Looks fun, in this stressful, especially this final weeks of the semester where you get stressed. It's one way to release stress. So I'm happy. But essentially, they said that some students might not be able to go back home and experience this. So that's why they were trying their best to make them feel welcome and make them also feel at home and make them feel the best of themselves whilst they are here. And the event was essentially open to any and everybody that was interested, even though it was just for it was for Indians. It was not just for them, but it was for also people who want to enjoy the event and who wanted to have some feel. So interesting.
Yeah, like we said earlier, everyone's feeling a bit better now that the weather is nicer.
Everyone is outside now.
Personal mental health is definitely tied to the weather? And
that's
being in Michigan is a little rough during the winter, but as soon as the sun comes out, I'm like ready to grow, hit the ground running, finish the semester strong.
No wonder you're glowing today. Yeah. So it's sun, the sun, huh? I see. Okay.
We need it.
We really need it. Yeah, and I can see a lot of people, especially at my department where I'm mostly at the School of Communication at Sproul. Around the fountain, you see a lot of students scattered there, lying on the grass. It's
I saw two girls tanning in their bathing suits this morning.
Yeah.
The sun came out and people just decided to lay out in the middle of campus, which mad respect. I would personally not do that, but I have been spending a lot of time on my porch, so
I mean, you can't really blame them. We've been, experiencing the cold weather for close to 4 months.
Yeah.
And I, for one, really was looking forward to this day because I'm used to this kind of weather in Ghana, and when I had to endure the cold winter here, where one day feels like winter is over and the next minute it's snowing crazy, like what's happening,
Yeah, It's probably going to be kind of chilly next week too, but we're taking every ounce of sun that we can get.
I guess I should take advantage of what we have today.
Yes.
Okay, so you wanted to add the story about the Persian students. What did they do as well to welcome spring?
Yeah, this is another story by Michael Simons, the lead CNC reporter. It just says the WMU Persian Student Organization celebrates the beginning of spring with Nowruz. I also don't know if I pronounced that right.
I don't either.
New Year's celebration. What did you say, Corey?
I don't know either.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, basically it was just a celebration, and it says that in the past it was focused on Iranian traditions, but this year they allowed students from a number of different countries, and they all got to share like their food, different dances, traditions, and just got to experience other cultures.
That's cool. Cultural integration as well. I don't know why I've been missing some of these events. I could have been having fun. So,
Experience WMU. That's where we find them. If you just got to Google it. It's on your Go WMU, and everything that every organization is doing is supposed to be on there.
I signed up to the email where, so usually every Monday they send me a list of events that are due, that are the week. Usually I attend the concerts. The ones at the theater, the ones at the music departments, the School of Music and all. Those are the ones I usually attend. Now I think I need to pay attention to some of these clubs and what they're doing.
Yeah, more of the
as well.
international student organizations, because they do some cool stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
Quick shout out to the reporter who wrote these, Michael Simons.
Oh.
He is graduating at the end of the semester. He's been with the Herald for a couple of years, and he does a lot of great work. He works really hard. He also has the same internship as me, so I spent a lot of time with him, but he's leaving us soon, so I just wanted to give him like a little bit of recognition there.
Yeah, good job to him. I like the story he wrote as well. So
yeah, he's a great writer, and he loves going to all the international student events, and I don't know, something about covering those events is super important to him, and he does it justice every time.
Good job. I'm an international student, so I really appreciate the job you're doing for us. Simons, thank you so much. And as you graduate, we wish you the very best in your journey from here and from the Western Herald as well. Hopefully, you continue to do the amazing work that you used to be doing at the Western Herald, wherever you find yourself.
He's going to be a real reporter.
Yeah, good. Okay, so folks, thank you so much for joining us and for staying with us today as well. We've looked at WSA and their vision for the coming year. We've also looked at internships that have been launched for students at Washington. You want to take advantage of that, and the next decade in terms of climate change, it seems that, and you should do something in your own individual way to help address it. And then the just ended conversation was on international students and what they've been doing to welcome spring. As usual, I've been with Corey Osterman, the news editor at the Western Herald, and Nicole Morehouse, who is the lead news reporter as well. Until same time next week, which will be our final episode for the rest of the semester. Take care, be safe, and bye-bye.